Hey YouTube, how you going? Welcome back to another video. In this video we're working on some more front-end components to get our application looking a little bit more like how Bolt.new has designed it for us. In particular at the moment we have this button in the wrong spot. We don't have this toggle between notes and sources. So I just want to start there, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to see how well a Claude works with giving a screenshot and just kind of highlighting where there's the differences. So I know this is going to require update in our dashboard header and then also the dashboard component. So it's gone ahead and given us this code. So let's replace this and hit save and jump over. Failed to resolve tabs. Okay, so we need to import. I think we don't have. Yeah, we don't have tabs at the moment, so. Just import that. Actually, we're also going to need tabs list and tabs trigger. Tabs list. Oh no, sorry, it's taking it from tabs, of course. So that should work. My mistake. Notes, sources. Okay, looks a little bit odd. Where's the okay, so and then top or inappropriate content. Okay, cool. So let's just update this as well, and then we'll have a bit of a better idea if it's done a good job. Right. Sources. Okay, cool. It's kind of a little bit different because we didn't have this line. What I'm also going to do at some point is just get ChatGPT or Claude to explain a little bit more about like the different classes that are available with Tailwind. You know, just so I don't have to go to AI all the time. Like if I want to make this darker. If we go dashboard header, it's like space, space Y, text muted foreground, center justify, border, that's height, that's width, not sure. But yeah, just so I'm a bit more familiar with some of these common class names that are used with Tailwind. I've never used it before. And then I presume there's also like background colors and stuff like that. Well, I know there is, because we've got them used in other places. So that works well. And then if we go new note, we've still got access to that, which is fantastic. So now what we want to do is when we come to the sources tab, we want to display our sources. So if we come over to Bolt, this is how it looks, and then we also have this ability to filter source types. We won't cover that straight away. What I will do is come into our project downloads. Okay, so I'm just trying to think what would mock source, create source modal, dashboard Y. So in our dashboard, create note, dashboard tabs, dashboard header. Just trying to remember where this like card for the source, like source card, I guess is what they would call it. Sources, source card. Okay, cool. Source modal and source grid. Fantastic. So let's double check. Yeah, when you click on it, it opens. Cool. So I'm going to bring those in. We will. We can probably stay in the one chat. So let's attach these. Great. So I'm going to say, please check our note card. So we'll display the name of the source. This is going to be different for each thing. How are we going to do this? The trouble we're going to run into is trying to think if I've got an example of this. Yeah, so the fields are different. So we have to do things that are going to be the same. So the source type name, even the name. Let's think about this. So each source is going to have not a lot. Okay, so on the source card, so if you yeah, it's one of the challenges just thinking about is these things are going to change, so I don't exactly know. Just trying to think like what's the best way of displaying that on the front end when things are different. Maybe we have to add a is mandatory field, and then if it is mandatory, the mandatory, but then someone could make like detailed description mandatory, and it's going to make the sources. Anyway, let's get this working. Okay. Source card, source model, source type, source name. Okay, that all makes sense, but endpoints, source types. Currently, we aren't. Get all source types. Don't actually have an endpoint to get all sources. Get all source types. Alright, so that's an oversight. I forgot we hadn't done that. Display source type icons. Alright, let's copy and paste this code in. copy. So components and our front end, and we'll call this source card. And then sources grid. And this should break our application because yeah, it's not getting source from anywhere. And then sources modal, source modal. All right. Getting source. Okay, it hasn't. I thought it might have a dummy function, but it doesn't. So if we come over here, refresh. Okay. So it hasn't broken the app. It's just obviously not rendering anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to functionality. Just trying to find my prompt. All right. So we're gonna pull this over here, and we're gonna say, so if this is the first time watching this video, we have this prompt that I use to create new code, and it creates it in a really compartmentalized way for me, which is great. So we don't need all this. So as a user, I want to view a dashboard showing all of my sources. When I click on a source, I can then see all of the notes associated. So we'll say that. JS. There's source. We need to sources. All right. Let's just copy this. I'm just gonna triple check. Add new source, add source type, delete, edit source type, get all company notes. Okay, cool. So come over here, we'll go back to Claude. We will do this in a new prompt. We can always come back to that one if we need to. Paste this in here, send that. Good question, because source is going to be different fields. So if we look at get all company notes, source type date. And then beyond the yes. So I think if we don't need to return the whole note, because if we click this, view related notes, we could have a list of notes. So let's just return for now the title and ID of the note. Okay, cool. So all fairly straightforward, what we've seen before, obviously. So we'll get this implemented, and then we can go back to our front end, tell it to update our API endpoint file, and we should be good to go. Cool. So let's pull this back over here, and this back over here. And in our components, we'll have a new folder called get sources, and then we are going to call this that looks fine. Okay, and then index, we need to bring in, and then so that all is working. What we'll do is, well, we don't know it's working, but it looks like it should work. We will go back to our front end. And then I'm going to tell, so we have created the backend Alright, so now what we need to do is update our endpoints.js file. Sources. All right, send that. Should be fairly self-explanatory. Do we have, yeah, created at start date, end date. updated that. Okay. We might run into an issue. Right. Sources. So we just got to add this into our endpoints. Save that. Then we need to create a hook. So use sources.js. Hooks. Where are you? And then let's update the dashboard. Alright, cool. Okay, cool. I'm just going to pull this over here. I'm just going to make sure that in one of my previous videos, when we asked it to update the dashboard, it kind of forgot a bunch of stuff. Use state, create node, pagination, use notes, use sources, dashboard, create note, selected filters, use notes, sources data. Sources grid. Okay, copy. It doesn't look like it missed out. Is loading. Okay. Failed to import sources grid. Features. These need to be here. And then missing scheme error. I think this is just going to be a mismatch between what's expected on the front end and what's expected on the back end. Okay, so get all sources. And then source schema. Source type. I'm hesitant that this might break some other stuff. Okay. Happy days, it works. So I need to make sure, like the note cards, that they're all one size. And now that we've got this, we can, yeah, I've got to think about how we I've got to think about what you'd actually want to show on this card. I think maybe what we have to do is, it's annoying that the clear filter button's there. I'll fix that up later. We need like a display on card. This also isn't, no, maybe this was created before, because it should have all the default source types. Okay, continuing on with this use case and just thinking about this a little bit more, I think probably the most logical thing to do is when you go to create a new note and create a source associated with that and you add a field, we should have a, like, is displayed. Don't really know what the correct terminology is for. Yeah, like basically is primary is displayed so that then when we have our sources tab, if that field is a primary or is displayed, it then renders on the screen. I'm just trying to think like what's the logical thing to call that so that someone knows that when they're creating a note that's what that field will do. Maybe it's like displayed on card. It kind of seems a little bit display on card. Yeah, it's a tough one. Because in this kind of modal, you only really have a fairly small amount of real estate, and I don't want to make it too overly complex. Could have it like is important. Maybe a better way of thinking about this is first of all to think about if we want to create a new source. So what we might do is say, great, can you now create a modal that appears on the file when the modal new source. Please view the logic in our add new note. What do we call that? Create note modal. So that is only going to create a source though. It wouldn't make sense. I was just thinking, it's not going to make sense to toggle for each independent source that you create to display that on the. So it's quite confusing actually. Obviously, you don't want to toggle on and off what field gets displayed on the card for each individual source, or do you? Do you want to do it at the source type level or the source level? I don't know. Let's go with this functionality for now. Depending on how the other fields are then displayed. Later. So if we also then just quickly check our endpoints, yeah, we will need to call our add new source. And then maybe what we do, just think about this, maybe we just display the source title, to be honest, and the source type and number of related notes. It's always going to be a title. Actually, there's not. There's always going to be a first field, so maybe it's always display the first field. Quite tricky. Trying to think through that. Alright, so what are we doing here? We have got a couple of components we need to do. So obviously, let's start with our endpoints, given that's first here. So we're just going to add the create in sources. So just put that in there. Then after that, we need to create a new hook. So use create source. So over here in our hooks. And again, we do need to kind of refactor this code base so that it's all kind of compartmentalized a little bit more. So we're going to have our modal, create source modal. actually is that. It's just in components. Again, there's some inconsistencies here with where things are saved. Not really worrying about too much at the moment. And then components dashboard header needs to be updated. So copy this, dashboard header, save that. And then in our dashboard JSX, so we need to have our state first, checking if the modal is open or not. Dashboard, we'll put this here. Then we will put this after create. Then dashboard header. We need to import those. It's just the one import. And with a little bit of luck, failed to pass source. It's my mistake. JSX. Save that. Dashboard maybe. Features. No, it's going to be up 1, up 2 into components. Alright, so similar issue probably. To when we previously worked on source types. So this is occurring. Refresh. Source types, data. So this is console.log. So it's data. Source types data. All right. Add new source. Oh, hey. That's it's got the colors. Doesn't have colors before, did it? Oh, I didn't. How good's that? All right. All right. Source type YouTube. So we're now going to get the same issue. Console. This is now going to occur. Select. Huh? Where's that error occurring? Source, new source. Let's just copy this. Where is this? Oh, it's in the hook. Hang on. I don't want to modify our no, I don't want to modify our source types hook. Take this call. I'll be back. Okay, just continuing. So I don't want to modify the hook because it's used elsewhere. So I'm saying I don't want to modify the hook. Please just update the component, create a source modal component to drill down into the object correctly. The object appears as please return copy that. Save. Sources, new source. There we go. Let's get rid of this. So, okay, something else went wrong. Add new source, rec.body, services, source data. This we're gonna need to update this because we've also changed. Okay, fantastic. So hang on a minute. Yeah, because when we fixed it previously, it was in the create note functionality. So in add note, add new note utils, create or find source. So this is another example where we've got some duplication of effort and code. Okay, so we're gonna have to tackle this. Just thinking the best way of doing this. If we go, do I keep it in this chat? I think we do. So let's attach. source type. Any other fields that are missing there? Just thinking. Where's models? Models source. Cool. All right. It does note company ID. Okay, cool. 2 seconds. Sorry about that. Again, a bit of a disruptive afternoon, evening here at my end. Okay, so what we need to do is go through this and update some of this stuff. So we are going to jump into add new source, validation chains, copy. Alright, and then our service, add new service. Quite a bit that we're changing here. Copy this in and I'll walk through the functionality, just check it. So get our user, populate the company, do user error, source type, find the source type, validate the source type fields, title field. That's good, it does that. Check existing title field, source type. I haven't tested that. So what happens if there is a unique title field? I have to check that out. And then in the utils. Okay, so source error. Right, validation. Copy. So this changed quite a lot. Save. And then in our controller. Copy, it's basically the same, save. Alright, so now if we go over to our front end, let's just save this and say route. Where are we? So many files. Route, add new source. So is post route to source. So then our endpoint. Sources, source. Is that right? Notes. Okay, so. So many files. Index. Add new source routes is notes. Okay, I don't know why we have that. We will probably fix that up at a later point in time. I'm not sure if it's used anywhere else. Let's just do that. Maybe because we associate a source with a note. Save that. And wait for this to restart. Just close this, refresh. Okay, come on. Sources, new source. Okay, so let's go YouTube. Actually, let's go back. Let's do something different because we've got a lot of YouTube. Let's do podcast episode. So, my awesome podcast. Awesome podcast. Oops, can't spell. You, me. Great. Still have the same issue where it doesn't refresh. There it is. Happy days. So we have the ability to create new sources from the front end now. And when we come back to Bolt and kind of look at this, so we've got our notes, ability obviously to create notes, we've got sources, the ability to create sources. We do need to now filter this source types. I still need to think though. Yeah, originally when I kind of started this part of the video, I was thinking, hey, maybe when you create a new source, you toggle on and off what fields you want to display, but then you constantly be changing it. So I think it's better done at the source type level. I'm just not really sure the best way of achieving this, because if we go here and we go to, for example, where's our create new, add new source type. You have a source type name. So there's always going to be a source type name, obviously, but then the field's always going to be something different. So the only thing I can think of at the moment is when you create a new source type, we have an additional field here, which is display on card. But then just from a usability point of view, that's a little bit complex to go, okay, like what fields do you and don't you want to display, and where, and people might not understand what a card is. So yeah, got to think about that in a little bit further detail. But I'm going to wrap the video there and kind of conclude all of this functionality into one kind of video, which is around creating sources from the front end and displaying them. So thanks for watching. I hope you're finding some of this useful, and appreciate all of the comments. And yeah, feel free to comment down below. Catch you in the next one.